Welcome back to the channel. This is Trendy Storm and you are watching What If Naruto Was Albert Wesker. If you enjoy this video, please like, share and subscribe to this channel. Not wasting no more time, let's start the story.
Following the Resident Evil 5 event, Chris and Shiva defeated Wesker by shooting a total of 2 rocket launchers with Jill's assistance. But when Chris and Shiva shoot Wesker with the 2 rocket launchers, the rockets did explode from behind Wesker even though they had passed his head. After Chris, Jill, and Shiva finished, they left the last battleground where Albert Wesker, the former captain of the STARS Bravo team, had fought. However, because of his superhuman abilities, everything was not yet over. Despite suffering severe injuries, including the loss of his right arm, Wesker managed to survive because he was able to swim in the lava. Wesker used his left hand to crawl on his stomach in order to land there. Wesker continued to crawl like a worm, his red eyes burning with rage and hatred. "Damn you. Chris, I won't forget this. I'll have my revenge someday. You'll see, you all will see." However, Wesker quickly stops when he arrives at what looks to be a shrine to a monster of some sort. Based on the rock statue, the monster was a fox. With his final breath, Wesker screamed aloud, "Chris!" and then abruptly fell to the ground, appearing to have died for a brief moment. "I can't die, not yet. I'll kill you, Chris. I'll kill you and your friend." Wesker was revived, but his right hand was still missing because of the T-virus that was inside his body. Wesker left the scene of his fight with Chris and Shiva and said to himself, "I'll get you, Chris. I promise I'll have your head next time you ruin my plans for the future of the world. Without Euroboros I can't change the world, damn you. I was so close in bringing a new future to the world." He then noticed an empty boat close to the island's docks. Even though Wesker wasn't sure where he was going, he used it to get away from the island. Once he exacted his revenge on Chris Redfield, everything would be ideal. Saving the world with Euroboros would finally arrive, and the world would change for the better. After arriving at a place he had never been to before, Wesker strolled through the forest and noticed a village from a cliff. Wesker grinned. Maybe when he gets to that village, he'll find some new clothes, find out where he is, and then send out his plans. However, Wesker abruptly took a shortcut to the village by passing through a huge giant that was sealed off. Wesker then entered the cave, which was held together by a huge, wooden cage, and inside was a giant orange furred 9-tailed fox that was red with rage, just like Wesker. However, Wesker's eyes were darker, more demonic, and more evil than the fox's. "What do we have here, my dear?" A brand new BOW as he gazed at the enormous 9-tailed fox, Wesker thought to himself. The beast asked Wesker, "Who are you and what do you want, human?" Wesker laughed. "My, this is quite a surprise to see such a giant beast like you trap in a place like this. Did you come here to monk me, human?" "Kyubi, the beast?" asked Wesker once more. Wesker explained his plans to the beast, saying, "No, I did not. I wish to use this cave to reach the village below this cliff." Kyubi chuckled, "Hey, your eyes are more evil than mine, yet you're human." "Yes. My plans were ruined by a human named Chris Redfield. I was defeated in battle, my right arm gone, my body nearly destroyed, but thanks to the T-virus I live once again, given the powers of a god." Wesker chuckled. "Whatever this T-virus is, my powers are beyond that." "How so?" "If I was ever fused with a human, your wounds you have would heal the moment whatever attack you happens. I am Kyubi, Lord of Fire, the 9-tailed fox of legend." Kyubi lets out a roar. Wesker grinned as Kyubi's eyes widened and her missing right arm abruptly erupted into a tail like claw that reached out to the Kyubi as Wesker slowly absorbed Kyubi with Euroboros. "My, that would be very useful for me, although Euroboros is the story, some of it flows through my DNA along with the T-virus. And now I think I know what will help me complete my plans without fail." But when Kyubi roared loudly and absorbed Wesker instead of Kyubi, it backfired because Wesker was absorbed into Kyubi's mind and Kyubi might be unstoppable. Because it was on this night that our hero Naruto Uzumaki was born and the 9-tailed fox attacked Konoha. All of that came to an end when Minato Namikaze, the 4th Hokage, sealed the souls of Kyubi and Wesker within his own newborn son. Following Minato's sealing, the Kyubi let out a loud cry of agony as their bodies gradually melted into nothing. Wesker's body was all that remained of the Kyubi, and it also melted into the ground as though he had never been there. In this new world, a new evil has reappeared. The old world has vanished, and a new world has been created for him to reappear. Will this newly reborn Wesker have a new enemy to destroy, or will he be able to exact any retribution on Chris? I may experience this minor setback, but I promise that I will come back stronger than before, and Chris, I'll get my retribution. Wesker waited for opportunities to reconnect with the world he wanted to improve over the course of many years. He therefore waited until it was appropriate to show up when Lil was in danger. Wesker will try his hardest to keep his newly reborn self alive until it's time for little Naruto to discover who he truly is. Naruto had blackouts as a child, but he didn't know who was controlling him during those blackouts. The Kyuubi is behind the cage, and Wesker laughs as he stands there with his arms folded across his chest, watching from Naruto's eyes. The god of this new world shall return to claim what is rightful his once again. Until then I will keep an eye on myself. Seeing and hearing about Naruto's friends and foes, as well as those who stand in Wesker's way, helped to create a new world that is better than Wesker could have ever imagined. As Orochimaru performed the 5 seal elements on Naruto, sealing away the Kyuubi powers, Wesker asked, "Is it time for Naruto to have a face-to-face talk with his former self?" Wesker's power is both superhuman and human, meaning that, like the Kyuubi and Naruto, Wesker is a part of Naruto's soul. However, having 3 souls in one body is undoubtedly a trip. After Naruto was put into a coma by Orochimaru, Wesker decided it would be best to inform him about his unique bloodline from the old world and the impending rebirth of a new god in this world. When Naruto awakens in his soul, he finds himself in a dark place with cold water all over the floor, resembling the leaky basement of an old, decaying house. Naruto rose from the ground to investigate his location and motivation. Naruto heard footsteps nearby and followed the sound to determine where the footsteps were coming from. Naruto soon arrived at a large room with a large cage and a small piece of paper with a seal on it, but no one was there. Naruto began to pay attention when he heard a voice from the big cage clapping their hands together and said, "My, you have grown through the years, my boy." Naruto questioned the voice, "Who there, who are you and where the hell am I?" "So many questions yet you're not familiar with the sign of your own soul?" the voice said. Naruto exclaimed in disbelief, "My soul, this place is my soul, no way." When the voice finally emerged from the cage, it was a middle-aged man with blonde hair, sunglasses, a black shirt, a black coat, and black pants. "Oh yes way, my dear boy. Now I think it time for you and I to finally meet at last." The man was asked by Naruto, "Who are you?" As the background shifts to a more peaceful setting for the two to meet, Wesker laughs and snaps his finger, saying, "You may call me Albert Wesker. I have been watching you for a very long time, Naruto Uzumaki." Naruto and Wesker were in the dining room of the mansion when the background changed to a serene setting. Naruto was now sitting in a chair across from Wesker. Wesker asked Naruto, "Better?" Naruto nodded and said, "Yeah, thanks." "Now Naruto, I was watching you fight that ninja, who somehow seal away the 9-tailed fox powers, is that correct?" Wesker asked Naruto. "Yeah, I remember using some of the fox power, but then I remember I got punched in the stomach, then I woke up here, so my charka is seal away for good?" Wesker smiled at the boy and said, "Only until someone undoes this sealing. But for now, until that happens, you are powerless. I wish to give something that will help you and your friends through this exam." Naruto was curious as to why another human had been living inside him for all these years. "What do you want to give me, and how did you enter me? I thought only the fox was sealed inside me, not another human?" Wesker stood up from his chair and snapped his fingers, saying, "I will tell you that story in time, but for now, I wish to see if you are able to control this power I'm about to give you." The background changed once more, showing Naruto and Wesker in a mansion, but on a lower level that appeared to be a training room. "Are you good with hand-to-hand combat, Naruto?" Wesker inquires. Looking at the ground, Naruto remarked, "Well, kind of. I usually use my jutsu. I never actually fought someone with my own 2 hands." Wesker laughs. "I see very well, Naruto. I'm about to teach you how to fight with your own body." "Really, how so, tell me?" Naruto grinned, and Wesker grinned malevolently before abruptly vanishing from Naruto's side. When Naruto turned around, Wesker was behind him. He gave him a roundhouse kick to the face, sending the boy flying across the room and into the wall. "Wow, you're so strong and quick. I think you broke my jaw?" Naruto coughed up blood from his mouth and snapped his left jaw in place. As Naruto stood up again, Wesker grinned at him and said, He, I guess I have hold back while fighting you then. No, go all out on me, I can take it, trust me." Naruto looks at Wesker with a grin. 7 minutes is all I can share to play with you. You have 7 minutes until you wake up. If you can hold out that long, then I will award you with my power." Naruto laughs and says, "Then show me what you got then." "So be it." Wesker begins his flash dash attack, swiftly circling Naruto as he closes his eyes to hear Wesker's next move. Then Naruto heard the perfect opportunity to attack Wesker. Naruto turned around and shot Wesker in the face, causing his sunglasses to nod off. "Ha got ya." Naruto exclaimed, but he quickly stopped laughing when Wesker turned to face him and slowly opened his eyes, revealing his actual eyes. Wesker's eyes were very similar to Kyuubi's, but they were even more evil and demonic, making Naruto feel like a defenseless child in a matter of seconds. Naruto thought, "Oh crap," as blood dripped from Wesker's mouth. Wesker balled up his left fist and slammed it into Naruto's stomach, causing his eyes to widen in shock and blood to pour out of his mouth as everything slowed down. "You're the second person who make me bleed by the mouth. You got one hell of a right hook, my boy, but you'll never be able to defeat me with that strength," Wesker chuckles. Wesker put on his sunglasses and laughed. "Come on, is that best you can do, Naruto?" As he mocked him after Naruto flew again and caused a large hole in the wall when the slow-mo stopped. However, he recovered swiftly because of Naruto's rapid healing. "I'm not done yet, Wesker." "Hey, you think hitting him on the head will work, Shikamaru?" a voice asked. Shikamaru said, "I don't know, Choji, go ahead and try." "What the?" exclaimed Naruto. "It seems our time has been wasted. I was hoping more of a challenge from you, Naruto. How disappointing. Maybe next time we meet when your true strength is not sealed. You'll fight me again. This time I hope you can put up a good fight, Naruto. But at least you made me bleed. That gave you enough to gain my power. Now hold still. This might hurt just a little bit, trust me." Wesker approached Naruto and punched him in the stomach once more. Before Naruto woke up, Wesker said again in a burst of white light, "With my gift you shall become a god. But be careful, watch your back at all times, and one more thing, if you are going to use my power, please wear some sunglasses. After all, you and I are the same." Wesker laughed, and his laugh turned into his laugh. "Ah-r-a-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h-h struck him in the head with a large-ass log. As everyone from Team Guy, Team 10, Sasuke, and Sakura stared at Naruto as he continued to roll around on the ground in agony, he cursed repeatedly while clutching his stomach. Naruto breathed heavily as he finally stopped, his face buried in the ground and his butt air in the air. He was still recovering from Wesker's gut shot, and he couldn't believe it. Shikamaru approached the boy and said, "Hey Naruto, you okay?" However, Naruto swiftly shot out his right arm, telling Shikamaru and Choji to move away. Naruto rose slowly from the ground again, but as soon as blood poured from his mouth, he fell to his knees. Sakura became a little concerned about Naruto's new behavior because whatever Orochimaru did to him wasn't good at all. Sasuke was also concerned about Naruto because of the boy's mouth dripping a lot of blood. After a short while, Naruto was himself again. He sat on his butt and closed his eyes. "What happened?" he asked Sakura. Naruto felt weak and angry all at once when Sakura told him that he and Sasuke were unconscious following Orochimaru's kick to their ass. Even though he refrained from yelling or cursing Orochimaru, the team still has a chance to pass the tests. Naruto noticed Sakura's new haircut shortly after Team Guy and Team 10 had left Team 7 alone. He grinned at her and said, "Hey Sakura." She asked, "What is it, Naruto?" Before Sakura punched him in the head, she blushed for a few seconds and said, "What do you mean by that? I wasn't cute with long hair." He pointed to her hair and said, "You look cute with your hair cut short like that." Naruto walked off ahead, saying, I'm saying you got more beautiful than all. Come on guys, let's get our heaven scroll." Naruto. He doesn't seem like the same Naruto from before. Why? As they strolled alongside Sakura, Sasuke pondered. "I'll just have to hold back for the time being and keep this new power a secret. I don't want Sasuke to think he's outdated." Naruto laughed to himself as he walked, experiencing a surge of strength and a chance to prove to everyone that he wasn't at all weak or stupid. Sakura. Chan and Sasuke both seem to be changing. I sensed a new power coursing through their bodies. This is excellent. Team 7 is simply much more powerful than before. With Kabuto's assistance, Team 7 managed to arrive on time shortly after recovering the Heaven Scroll from a group of rain ninjas they had previously encountered. Team 7 enters the massive red tower in the center of this forest after saying their brief goodbyes for the time being. Naruto and his teammates were given permission to open the Heaven and Earth Scroll inside the tower, securing their spot in the upcoming third exam. Naruto was having a great time with all the teams that had advanced thus far, including Team Guy and the 9 rookies. Naruto saw Shino from Team 8 as the ninja boy asked his so-called friend for a small favor before the rest of this could unfold in the upcoming battles. "Shino, you made it too. I'm surprised you made it, my friend." Naruto laughed. Shino gives Naruto a serious glare and asks, "What do you want from me, Naruto? This is the first time you've called me a friend?" Naruto claps his hands together and says, "There is a small favor I wish to ask of you." "What is this favor then?" Naruto asked Shino, Do you have any extra pair of sunglasses I can use? Why? My eyes hurt too, so I can't continue without sunglasses. I must have damaged them in the forest of death, so would you mind? Naruto grinned at the bug. Using ninja. Shino reached into his left pocket and handed Naruto the same pair of shoes that Wesker had been wearing during their brief training session, saying, "Here, take them." "Sweet thanks man, I own you one." "I hope you can hold on that own you own me Naruto," replied Shino. Naruto nods, puts on his sunglasses, and quickly changes his hairstyle by brushing back his spiky blonde hair. "Sure you can count on me." I'm excited to see who I'll be fighting. I'll definitely give them a good run for their money. Next time. Naruto vs combining Naruto X to Yuya X. Select the other person you wish to pair with. Wesker x Tsunade Wesker Saiyans. Once more. Self. Righteous fools. You can't hide forever. Ah, there you are. This fight will determine your future. Kick Chris through the door. How disappointing. I was hoping for more of a challenge from you, Shears. I shouldn't kill you years ago. Chris. Done? I've only just begun? Time to die Chris. CHHHHHHRISS. I don't need anyone else. I have Euroburus. A new Genesis is at hand and I will be the creator. I see you're dead. No, I can't let you win. Humans are getting closer to destroying themselves every day. I'm not destroying the world, I'm saving it. Chris, things are starting to get really interesting. Do you genuinely believe you can beat me? In any case, I won't stop until I'm dead. Chris. Wesker chuckled and said, "Well then, I'll just have to kill you quickly. The right to be God is now the mind. The right to be divine? You? Haughty all the way to the end. That privilege is only due to those who are genuinely capable of being gods. Right. I have that right with Euroburus. Naruto and many other genin will discover the remaining Chunin exams within the Forest of Death inside the massive, tall tower there. Just like today, they must battle each other to advance to the next section of the exams." Before he could continue, one of the ninja who had been standing behind him suddenly appeared kneeling in front of him. "Then I will now begin the explanation of the third exam, but," the third said. The long-haired ninja, wearing a bandana over his forehead, said, "I, Gecko Hayate, the judge will explain." "Pardon me, Lord Hokage." The Hokage said, "Please do." He didn't seem to mind being interrupted at all. Before coughing a little and turning halfway to face them, Hayate said stoically, "Everyone, it's nice to meet you. Before the third phase of the exam, cough. Cough. There's something I want you to do. To determine who gets to move on to the main battles of the third phase, compete in a few preliminary matches. First. Round games. What are you saying?" Shikamaru asked in a languid tone of voice. Then Shikamaru said respectfully, "Instructor. Sama, I don't understand what you mean by preliminary matches. Why can't we just start the third phase of the exam with the remaining examinees?" Sakura asked. "The number of remaining examinees is excessive. As Lord Hokage previously stated, we must reduce the number of participants before we can move forward with the main matches of the third phase of the exam in accordance with Chunin exam regulations." Hayate told the other genins, "We can't just have a lot of matches because there are a lot of guests for the third phase of the exam." Following that, the first match had already begun. Yoroi Akadu vs Sasuke Uchiha with his strength and pride as a Uchiha and a ninja. Sasuke was able to overcome the battle and win with a new attack lion combo. A move he stole from Lee but recreated in his own way. The battle between Sasuke and Yoroi wasn't a bad show at all. Although this could stop Sasuke from being a jerk all the time, both Naruto and Wesker watched the battle because it wasn't that bad. Naruto reflected, "Not bad, Sasuke almost lost there, though. Yes, but that boy is no longer a threat to us. Wesker, we'll see about that in the future, so we will." Sakura vs Ino as the two rivals and best friends engaged in combat. Naruto supported Sakura throughout, encouraging her to persevere and give it her all. Even though they were still young, Wesker could see everything through Naruto's eyes. Wesker could see that each of them had unique skills, but even they couldn't stand a chance against a tyrant, much less a BOW for the time being. Wesker would have to sit back and enjoy the spectacle. However, Ino and Sakura ended up tying each other, proving to each other that they were the best. And now, Kiba vs Naruto. The two were prepared to fight Naruto Uzumaki when Kiba smirked and said, "Yahoo, alright Akamaru, look like we got an easy prey today." Naruto couldn't resist chuckling a little. "Alright, let's kick some ass." While everyone watched the match from above, Naruto and Kiba both leapt from the balcony. "Let the game." When Naruto said, "Hey Kiba, How about we set a time limit to our little match, more like a bet, shall we? Hayate was interrupted. Kiba questioned. Like what kind of bet then? It a very easy bet if you can defeat me within 7 minutes. Within that 7 minutes. I will give a special gift for you and Akamaru there. Naruto laughs. Kiba glares at Naruto and asks, okay, that sounds good. What about if you win? Naruto laughs, well, that depends on your recovery after I'm done with. Kiba growls, fine, whatever, let go, Hayate exclaimed, begin, as the game got underway. Naruto cracked his knuckles and said, 7 minutes, 7 minutes is all I can spare to play with you. Suddenly, an unidentified Charka force took control of Naruto. Everyone in the room sensed the Charka's dark yet potent flow. Naruto was extremely fast, and Kiba began his attack by hurling his knives at him. Naruto urges Kiba to improve while grabbing the knife. Is that all you have? Kiba is made fun of by Naruto. Kiba growled at the Uzumaki, you hadn't seen anything yet, Naruto ready Akamaru? Beast human clone. Kiba transformed Akamaru into a clone of himself, and the two started attacking Naruto, first with punches and then with kicks. Naruto struggled to concentrate on Akamaru attacks, but he managed to keep up with the real Kiba's blows. Damn, can't be showing off too much, Naruto said, tripping and falling on his butt. As he became serious, Naruto stood up and grabbed his orange jumpsuit jacket. Raga! Naruto leapt into a tackle position and sprinted in Kiba's direction. Kiba took an inch to move away from Naruto and felt the cut on his right cheek. Kiba remarked, damn, that was too close. I tried of you wasting my time. Naruto exclaimed, 4 more minutes left. As Akamaru charged at Naruto and slashed his claws at his face, Kiba growled even more like the ferocious dog he was. Blood trickled down Naruto's face as his sunglasses fell to the ground, momentarily taking him by surprise. In a fit of rage, Naruto balled up his right fist and grabbed Akamaru by the neck. With Akamaru in Kiba's form, Naruto was prepared to rip a hole in his chest. Naruto has a dark red or orange glow in his eyes. No! Kiba yelled as he threw Naruto to the ground, separating him from his best friend. After Kiba repeatedly punched Naruto's face, which was covered in blood and covered in claw marks, Naruto grabbed Kiba's arms. Naruto headbutts Kiba, causing the ninja to black out. Ah, playtime is over. I was hoping for more of a challenge from you, Kiba. How disappointing. Sorry about that, Kiba. No hard feelings. Don't worry, I'll keep my promise. Naruto stood up and walked a few feet to retrieve his sunglasses. His right hand glowed brightly as he placed something in Kiba's pocket and handed Akamaru a large, juicy bone to chew. When Kiba woke up, he saw Naruto waving goodbye to him as a group of medics carried him away. Damn, I lost, he kicked my ass. Then Naruto's eyes turned back to crystal blue, and he abruptly felt the powerful flow of Charka slowly leaving his body. For a brief moment, Naruto's hands began to twitch violently, and he began to breathe deeply and heavily. He wasn't sure what was wrong with him. What might happen if Wesker's strength is used? Since everything was fine for the time being, Naruto regained control over his body and returned with the other above. Naruto appears worn out and feeble. Kiba wasn't particularly difficult, but Naruto felt the impact of using all that strength for nothing. Naruto would only have used his strength when it was necessary the next time. As the remaining bouts continued, Naruto urged Hinata to continue challenging herself in her fight with her cousin Neji Hyuga, who think that everything is determined by fate, which was enough to enrage Naruto in the first place. Neji became agitated and was about to hit Hinata, almost killing her. Naruto was about to intervene to resolve this issue on his own after realizing that it was unfair. However, Neji's plan to kill Hinata out of rage was thwarted by Kakashi, Guy, and numerous other Chunin. In the final, Naruto made a blood vow that Neji would pay for harming Hinata, one of his friends, and that no matter how strong a person is, they will never escape punishment for harming one of Naruto Uzumaki's friends. Even though Naruto didn't know much about Rock Lee, the battle between him and Gaara was another instance of combat that really upset him. However, according to Sakura, Lee was a really good-hearted person, similar to Naruto but without the goofiness. And no one like Lee would have to endure the pain of having sand crush his left arm and leg while he was also unconscious. However, even though Lee was unconscious, his body was still capable of fighting, which was sufficient for Naruto to recognize that Lee's pride as a ninja was just as strong and powerful as Naruto's. During this Chunin exam event, Naruto will be able to eliminate 2 of his prime subjects. First subject. Neji Hyuga Gaara of the desert is the second subject. Naruto will ensure that they pay using his newly acquired godly strength. Naruto was number 1 after calling their number, followed by Neji and the others. The winner will ultimately face Dosu, so whoever wins can advance to the next round. Naruto thought to himself, Lee is in pretty bad shape. I wish there was something I could do to help him with those wounds and broken limbs. Naruto heard Wesker say, there is a way, then tell me how. I will eventually, but first, Naruto, I need you to do something special for me. That would be, I want you to bring that girl who your friend Shikamaru defeated. If you want to assist Lee, I'd like to try something out. With that sound girl, what do you want? I would like to give our little sound girl a small gift by giving her a small donation of blood. Why are you asking her in such a friendly manner? Since your blood is extremely rare, let's see what happens if it ever enters a human vein. That's all I'm trying to do. Your super strength and speed combined with the fox Charka will transform the girl Kin into. Naruto abruptly stopped when he heard Kakashi's voice. Concerned for his pupil, Kakashi asks, you okay Naruto, you kind of space out of there for a small? Naruto left the tower as if no one was there. Nothing, just today a lot has happened. I learn a new tick and work very well on Kiba. Well, since I got a whole month until the finals come, better go ahead and train later sensei. When Naruto ran through the forest of death using Wesker's super speed, he felt his strength ebbing away. Tomorrow, the day before the Chunin exam finals, Naruto walked home to his apartment. Do you want to find out if my blood can make someone as powerful as you? Yes. Since you and I are one being, I would like to try a small experiment. There is a lot you need to know about your past self. All right, but tomorrow is fine, I need to rest. You shall rest. 5 days following the start of the finals count. Naruto brought some flowers and a special gift wrapped in a small box when he visited Lee at the hospital. Wearing black sunglasses, a black t-shirt, long shelves, fingerless gloves, and dark blue pants that match his shirt, Naruto virtually completely changes his appearance. His hair remains spiky. If someone noticed that Naruto was wearing sunglasses, they shouldn't blame him for nothing because it was a very hot and sunny day. Naruto asked the nurse where Lee's room was located. After the nurse informed Naruto that Lee was on the 3rd floor, Naruto inquired about the whereabouts of Sasuke and Kin. Naruto had been informed of their location and was ready to leave for it. Lee would be the first. As a voice spoke, Naruto nodded on the door of room 309 on the 3rd floor. Naruto said his name, it's Naruto. Guy. Sensei was the one who opened the door while Lee was still in bed, awake but still in poor condition. Lee said, Naruto, what brought you here? Naruto lifted his sunglasses on his head to reveal his crystal clear blue eyes to Lee. Well, I came to see how you are doing. You did take a pretty heavy attack. Lee noticed that Naruto had a little green box for him with his name on the tag. Lee questioned, is that for me Naruto? Naruto opens the little green box containing Lee and says, oh yes, I made it for you as a get well gift. I know it will be a while for you to fully recover. There was a tiny red liquid filled bottle and a tiny wrist chain with the words, Ultimate Strength, written on it. Guy laughed as he said, a perfect showmanship of a new friendship, or is it rivalry? Yes, I believe so. Naruto and Lee both laughed at Guy's actions. Lee, that red bottle, I made it especially for you and only you. Think of it as energy and a recovery drink. It will make your body relax more than it should and also it gives you some extra strength. Naruto says with a grin. Lee felt incredibly honored by Naruto's amazing deed and said, thank you, I don't know how I can repay you. As Guy and Lee returned with their thumbs up, Naruto gave Lee a big thumbs up and said, get well soon, I want to fight the boy who beat Sasuke Uchiha. You're my new rival. Naruto waves his friend off, saying, well, I better get going, don't want to keep my other guest waiting. Guy looks at Naruto's energy drink, medicine that he gave Lee and asks, I wonder what kind of energy drink is it? The 2nd floor, Fighting Dreamer, was the song Naruto was humming to himself when he arrived at Kin's room, where sound ninjas were standing guard at the door. Although Naruto didn't really want to see Kin, Wesker ordered him to do so despite the fact that he only felt bad news from them. Knowing that this would be simple, Naruto grinned and swiftly used Wesker's super speed move to gut shot the 2 guards, and entered Kin's room, where she was lying on a hospital bed with bandages covering her head. She is still dressed in the same outfit from 5 days ago when Shikamaru beat her. Suddenly, Naruto pulled out a chair and sat next to her, placing a flower close to her. Observing how serene and lovely she appears while she sleeps, she let out a little moan as Naruto gently touched her right cheek without giving a damn. She is beautiful, is she not? Yes, so tell me what you want with her. I just need you to insert your DNA into her. Whoa, are you saying that you put my DNA into her? When Naruto realizes what Wesker means by that, his face flushes red with shame and naughty thoughts. Give your blood to her, and I'll take care of the rest. Naruto noticed that the IV kin was supplying water. As the water slowly swam into Kin's bloodstream, Naruto cut his right hand and spilled his blood into it. Kin's eyes snapped open, her hands twitched, and she arched in agony as her hands clenched into fists. Then, with blood on her hands, she unballs her fist and slowly calms down while drooling. Like Naruto, her hands' deep nail wounds healed over time as her nails grew longer and sharper. Excellent, she handled the virus quite well. She has not displayed any indications of mutation. Isn't that a good thing? Yes, this is excellent. She must have had the correct blood type. She must be among the select few who can deal with Ouroboros. What is that? Naruto inquired. I made the Ouroboros virus with my own blood, along with the T-virus and many others, to create the ideal weapon to improve the world. Who are you, Wesker? I am you. I am the shadow of who you used to be. I am a god because I came very close to bringing about a future devoid of evil. For the entire world, but my nemesis, Chris Redfield, ruined my plans. I was killed and defeated, but I was able to resurrect myself because of the T-virus. There, I meet the demon Kyuubi. Using what little strength I have left, I merge with the demon, and the rest is history. That is to say, you are not only me but also a member of the Nine-Tailed Fox. Yes, if that clarifies things for you. Even in a life before mine, I was born a monster? A monster is not a god, so, what should I do with her? We will greatly benefit from having her with us. Bring her to the location you discovered 3 days ago. Isn't that covert umbrella base close to the village? Yes, Naruto, there's something there that I want to show you. 3 days ago, while training in the forest, Naruto accidentally discovered the hidden umbrella base. After leaving Kin in the resting room, Naruto entered the main room deep underground. While in the main room, Naruto looked around the area, which was still untidy and unsightly, with blood on the walls and floor and dirty water dripping from the ceiling. There was a large, dead humanoid with large, sharp claws on the ground next to the 4 dead bodies. Naruto asked Wesker, "Okay, I'm here, so what did you want to show me?" "First use your shadow clone so I may show you." "Fine." One shadow clone was summoned by Naruto, who then temporarily changed it into Wesker's body. After a few moments of staring at each other, Wesker stood next to Naruto and began working on the big computer, searching through the Umbrella Base's data files to see what information and BOW they had. After that, Wesker entered his password to access his mainframe from his headquarters database. Back at his apartment, Naruto's laptop is downloading some of the files from a tiny disk for him to use. Naruto is shown the BOW that this base possessed by Wesker. The BOW list they have is hunters. The 10 leftover seals on the first floor will be disposed of. Of them, Neptune.18 is located on floor 65's Aqua level. Black tigers. Enter very carefully and seal off in level 10. Crimson head. If you want to escape location level 4, you must dispose of it as soon as possible. Lickers. Stay as silent as you can when you're around them. Reaper. When an outbreak reaches level 12, it is extremely dangerous and needs to be sealed off and disposed of. Then, as Wesker showed Naruto the remaining BOW list, something caught his attention. Wesker was questioned by Naruto, "Why are you showing me this?" 1. In case you have a problem with attackers to your, or should I say our village. 2. You said you want to have a training partner, correct? And the 3. I believe your friends can take the challenge of fighting a BOW for perfect test data. Wesker giggles. I live in you now, I am dead however with you. I shall live, carry my dream, create a new world, a perfect world. A perfect world, shall a dream exist? Asks Naruto. Yes, with Ouroboros you have that right. The right to be God, that right is now yours, Naruto. Within your body is the hope of dreams of the future, I see the perfect world. Wesker laughs. It seems my time is over. Kin shall be waking up very soon. Please explain to her she shall become the mother of a new world that will soon be born. Oh, you can tell your friend hiding in the shadow to come out now. As Wesker enters Naruto's body, he disappears in a puff of smoke. One of Naruto's peculiar yet odd friends emerged from the shadow. He was shocked to learn that Shino had followed him everywhere. Shino, what are you doing here? Did you follow me? Did you hear everything? Then Shino noticed a picture of the Reapers, the big, lethal bug BOW, on the computer screen. Since Shino came from a clan that used bugs as weapons, all he had to say about the Reaper BOW was, beautiful. Naruto was left speechless. Subsequently, Naruto presses a button that displays Shino's image of the black tiger, a monstrous, enormous, and terrifying-looking spider. Naruto Uzumaki, I have indeed heard everything. But I have still amazed, we must tell Lord Hokage. Shino replied. Naruto frowned and said, wait Shino, do you have anything what we have here? This is a deadly BOW. Naruto Uzumaki. I know they are sealed, but it's just a matter of time until they. As Shino entered the room to find Naruto and Shino there, she was interrupted by Kin's moaning. Where the hell am I? My head. When Kin saw Naruto and Shino, she was about to fight them, but she fell to her knees because the room was too light for her. Kin then blacked out once more, leaving Shino to wonder and Naruto to sigh. Biohazard Outbreak Warning Level 4. Biohazard Outbreak Warning Level 4. Oh crap. Naruto's perspiration falls. Shino went to the computer and quickly located the problem, saying, I think we need to find out what is casing the problem. It turned out that level 4 was where the tyrants and the Crimson Heads, a very powerful, swift, and lethal variation of your typical zombie, were being kept. These zombies are also smarter and have the ability to open doors. Crimson Heads are on that level. Shit. If they escape, we're in serious trouble. Naruto became a little alarmed, but Shino remained composed and told the computer to display a camera on that level since the Crimson Heads were the source of the issue. Many of them have escaped, and after consuming the corpses of the scientists and workers who died there, they have produced even more of them. Alright, Shino, what should we do? Naruto wonders. Well, level 4 is completely sealed off, so we won't need to be concerned. However, I don't trust the outcome of witnessing their inability to escape. Shino clarified, with claws and the ability to think twice more than a typical zombie, we have to get rid of them right away, as Naruto concurred with the ninja bug users. Naruto laughed and said, wait, we can use the tyrant to dispose of them. But when he's finished, who will get rid of him? Shino turned to face Naruto, who was composed about the situation and simply grinned at the bug. User Ninja. On what type of tyrant we're using Shino? Naruto asked. So, what are you thinking of? Shino displays a tyrant unit list. Look. Naruto gestured to the tyrant he intended to use, saying, he should do the job fine. Shino became a little concerned about this particular tyrant and asked, are you sure I don't trust it? It's better than nothing, isn't it? A big capsule rose from the floor as Naruto pressed a red button in the freezer room on level 4. The T.35A tall, muscular humanoid with white eyes emerged from the capsule. He was bald, had large, sharp claws on his hands, wore a black speedo, and had dark brown skin. He appeared composed as Naruto spoke to the tyrant through a speaker, instructing him to deal with the numerous Crimson Heads. When the brown-skinned tyrant walked out of the room and into the hallway, he saw the large group of Crimson Heads banging on the door and slashing at it to break it down. The group ran toward the tyrant, who football tackled them so quickly that he killed half of them with a single rush attack. He finishes the others by snatching their heads, crushing their skulls, and then, of course, slicing them to pieces with his claws. After finishing, he turns to face the camera that Shino and Naruto are watching from. As instructed by his new master, the tyrant departed the area, saying, well done, you may return to your slumber T.35. Apparently, this tyrant was very lordly to his master, which was very good for both Shino and Naruto. The video shows that T.35 returned to sleep in the freezer room as instructed. Kin woke up and asked them what the hell was going on because Shino wanted to know what Naruto's true plan was, and of course, Naruto did own Shino 1 for giving him the sunglasses. In addition to sealing away the nine-tailed beast, Naruto told the two that he discovered that his soul contained a man named Albert Wesker, who possesses superhuman abilities. It appears that Wesker and Kyuubi are the ones who give Naruto his power, as Kyuubi and T both have the ability to recover from fatal wounds, have limitless stamina, and so on. Wesker wanted to see if anyone could handle Ouroboros and the T-virus in their blood, but only Kin is able to do so because her blood type is O. Kin hasn't woken up yet because T's only awakens the person if they die, in which case they are revived. However, Ouroboros has shown no symptoms thus far, and Kin appears to Shino and Naruto to be her normal self. Naruto asked Kin about this place after Shino told him he had to tell Sarutobi about it. Shino simply said, Naruto, it is your job to do as you like with her, unsure of what else to say about Kin. You have to deal with the T-virus that is flowing through her body. Shino and Kin agreed as they left the covert umbrella base and headed back to Konoha as night fell on the village. Fine, I got it already, let's get out of this place before any more biohazard happen again. Is this accurate? With reference to the 3 genin ninjas, Sarutobi inquired. Well Naruto didn't really want to tell Sarutobi about this because he knew that the elderly man would either be furious or concerned about them. Naruto hoped that Sarutobi was only concerned about them. Yes. It is true Lord Hokage. Shino said, Naruto found this hidden lab within Konoha's hidden forest 3 days ago. These BOW Naruto refers to the lab's extremely potent weapons as being extremely lethal. Is that accurate? Sarutobi Wonder Shino nodded and said, yes, one of them managed to eliminate a group of zombies in a matter of seconds. Sarutobi said as he rose from his seat, I want to see this place myself. Naruto begs the third Hokage not to let him into the umbrella's hidden base, saying, no old man, wait please, the place isn't for an old guy like you. As the third Hokage, Naruto is more than just an elderly man. It is my responsibility to protect the citizens of Konoha. I can definitely handle this, as can the lives of many others. As the three ninjas nodded, Sarutobi said, but if you are worried about my safety, then come with me. That goes for you too, Ms. Kin. At Umbrella Base, which is hidden as they entered the secret, empty base of Umbrella, Sarutobi could only utter, my god. Naruto informed Sarutobi that not only had the fourth Hokage sealed the Kyuubi inside of him, but that a man by the name of Albert Wesker had also done the same. All of a sudden, Kin begins to lose her vision as everything starts to go dark. Hey, what's the matter? Naruto questioned Kin. My head hurts, and it's killing me. As Kin groaned in agony, Naruto led her to the exact room where he had placed her when he removed her from the hospital. Shino was already on the computer displaying the BOWs that this base possessed, most of which were locked and could only be viewed or awoken with a special password, when Naruto returned from the sick room. Sarutobi asks Naruto what he originally intended to do with these BOW. Nothing really, I have no reason to use them, is Naruto's response. However, I was considering using them as my training partners. However, after witnessing a tyrant's tactics in combat, I began to reconsider this. Also, it won't be easy to destroy this BOW because some of them are stronger than any ninja I've ever encountered. Naruto took his statement very seriously, and only Shino and Kin were aware of it, not Sarutobi. After giving this BOW considerable thought, Sarutobi said, if they were in Orochimaru's hands, Konoha would have a big problem, not just Konoha but every village. Sarutobi was unsure of how to get rid of them. Naruto, I want you and Shino to make sure that nobody from Konoha or any other village is aware of this location. This location is extremely hazardous. I worry that if someone could control these beasts, we would have a serious problem, so please keep this place hidden from everyone. Do you know how to get rid of them all, Naruto? Sarutobi questioned the Uzumaki because Naruto knew how to get rid of them, but he wasn't sure if it would be enough to completely destroy the area because some might get away and join the wildlife, which would be very bad. Naruto simply replied, no, I'm not sure, but I'll find out until. In addition to knowing which unit to use and which not to, you can trust me because I know how to handle them, old man. Sarutobi departed the secret base, leaving Shino and Naruto by themselves. Very well then, Naruto. Phew, he took it well. Naruto grinned. Lord Hokage trusted us to handle the situation because he believes in you. What are you going to do with the BOW, Naruto? I'm not really sure, Shino. Look here how things go with BOW from what Wesker told me, Naruto said, letting out a little sigh as he scratched the back of his head. According to the bug users, I'm listening. Naruto smiled hopefully and said, each BOW comes with their strength and weakness. The zombie with red skin. Are you not referring to the Crimson Heads? Shino uttered. Indeed, the Crimson Heads are tougher and more powerful than other zombies, but they still have the same weakness. Shino was left to ask Naruto a question after Naruto clarified. The head is their weak point, so be careful, have claws, and they can run and think twice than a slow dumb zombie. So there are intelligent zombies? Something like that. If you see one, aim for the head. That all I got to say about that. How about those? Shino gestures toward a dead hunter whose brain has exploded. Those are Hunter, my friend. Despite being designed for hunting, this BOW is a failure test subject. What's the matter with them? Shino continued to stare at the dead hunter in wonder. I read a few pages of information because Hunter was designed to hunt down BOW rather than people. They hunt by themselves and disobey. As Naruto shook his head, he said, I saw a video and it got really nasty after they escaped that one time. But with a pack of them together, it can get very ugly very quickly. But strangest thing is they can be killed very quickly by any other BOW like the Tyrants and the Reapers. Naruto chuckled. The Reaper? Shino uttered. You mentioned that the big bug you mentioned was lovely. Those critters are sly and extremely tickly. They can only be destroyed by a rocket launcher. Nevertheless, they are momentarily stunned by a powerful flash of lightning. Naruto tells Shino about the Reaper's BOW. And like ninjas, these guys can unleash a special gas that makes the enemy sight think they are seeing double. Did Shino say that at that precise moment, leaving Naruto to wonder if Shino liked the BOW Reapers and all the other bugs. With a sudden smile, Naruto said, "First, I'm going to get rid of all those bugs and—" Naruto felt Shino suddenly seize and tighten his right shoulder. "I will deal with them," Shino said. Naruto stared at Shino while Shino glared back at the Uzumaki, saying, "Shino, you do know that they're not normal bugs, right? They won't be friendly like your normal type of bug." "I know, Naruto Uzumaki, but they are still insect creative life and nature," Shino replied. Naruto shakes his head, trying to get rid of the thought of those large spiders. "Well, I leave the whole bug BOW to you. I hate spiders and those black tiger, oh man, just the thought, ah," he screams. Shino bowed slightly and said, "Thank you, Naruto Uzumaki." After warning Shino about the BOW, Naruto went to the room to check on Kin. "Just call me Naruto, okay Shino?" "Oh yeah, word of warning, the black tigers and web spinner are all very poison. And the Reapers, don't let them grab you. If you do, it's game over, my friend. Once they grab you, if lights out for good." In the hospital, when Naruto noticed Kin on the bed, clutching her head and moaning in agony, he sensed that something was wrong with her. When Naruto noticed that Kin's hands were gradually developing into long, nailed claws, he began to back away. Her fangs grow out of her teeth. As she started to rip her clothes, her muscles started to grow. After grabbing Kin, Naruto dashes into the icy room containing the tyrants. Naruto hurriedly placed Kin inside the empty capsule that Shino had opened from the computer there as the cold air breathed into the capsule. For a long time, there was only silence, but then Kin heard a loud banging nose enter the capsule. A long claw reached out to Naruto, almost slashing his face as the capsule banged open. Was Kin attempting to grab him? Naruto could see Kin's eyes as they changed from black to dark green as she kept changing her form. However, Kin abruptly pulled her arm back as she eventually fell asleep, the capsule lowering itself until Kin was able to master her newly discovered abilities. Naruto went back to where Shino was in the main room. When Shino asked Naruto what was going on with Kin, he replied that it was about time for Kin to start exhibiting symptoms of Uroboros affecting her, but that she needed to learn to control her new abilities as long as she was temporarily sealed away. After the Chunin exams, Naruto intends to awaken her again so she won't be harmed by sound. The fact that the sound is a new village makes Naruto wonder about something. However, since his blood was now flowing through Kin's body, Naruto was only concerned with keeping Kin safe for the time being. The fact that Kin is Naruto's problem and that she may prove to be very helpful in the near future indicates that she will be just as strong as Naruto when she awakens from her sleep. After her abrupt metamorphosis, Kin's clothing was torn off of the capsule she was sleeping in, and her body returned to its typical human size, losing all of her monstrous appearance. When Kin saw Naruto leaving the room, she fell asleep. Her only thought was that her master would wake her up and use her for something constructive. Since Naruto gave Kin his blood, Kin has felt like a part of Naruto, even though she doesn't fully understand his heart, mind, or soul. As Naruto returned to the freezing room where Kin's capsule was, she could hear his voice and feel his pain. As Kin listened, Naruto spoke to her. As his eyes turn blood malicious, Naruto smirks and says, "Kin, I want you to listen to me. I will free you, but only after you master your new body and its powers. Until then, sleep well, Kin. I hope your dreams are peacefully, my angel of death." Before Naruto could turn around and leave the room, Kin called his name. Since Kin was Naruto's first BOW created by fusing his own blood with a human, she said in her sleep, "Master Naruto, be safe." After saying, "I will, Kin, just rest, I know you're going to need it," Naruto and Shino departed from the secret base, which was situated behind a waterfall with a lot of rain. Both Naruto and leave after they get back to Konoha, with the possibility that they will cross paths again tomorrow or a few days later. Naruto went to the hot springs to get some rest because he was exhausted. Naruto enters the men's side of the hot springs there while sporting sunglasses on top of his head and a towel covering his lower body. Rock Lee and Kiba were both inside the hot spring, as Naruto could see. Naruto said, "Hey, what are you guys doing here? What does it look like we're trying to relax?" "Well, I am," Kiba responded. Naruto asked his new rival, "Friend, and what about you, Lee?" With pride in his voice, Lee exclaimed, "Yes. I too am trying to relax after such a good training with Guy Sensei." Naruto was shocked to see Lee awake and prepared to go after 6 days. "Huh, what, you're training already? Wow, that drink did the trick, huh?" he asked. "Yes. Thanks to you, Naruto. Kun, you helped me recover so quick than I thought, but I am still following Guy Sensei orders not to push my limits. I still may not be fully recovered," Lee replied. As all three boys sigh simultaneously, Naruto entered the hot spring and relaxed, saying, "Well, that's good to hear, Lee. Kiba smiles back at Naruto, who asks, "So dog boy, enjoy the gift that I gave you?" "Yeah, I stole that item and got big money from it. And Akamaru loved the bone you gave him," Kiba replied. "Glad you'd enjoy it." Naruto chuckled a little. Kiba scowled and said, "So Naruto, what you in store for Neji Hyuga? You know he's tough and is one of Lee's teammates. He almost had Hinata if the Junin didn't step in." Kiba growled angrily as Naruto maintained his composure and maintained a very composed expression. "Yeah, I know, look, I got this, don't worry. When the finals come, Neji will be crushed by my hands and mine alone. Then that Suna ninja that tried to kill Lee. I can't forgive such a dishonor act to attack someone who is unable to fight. But nevertheless, when the finals come, I will surely know that." Naruto chuckled. "You're always so calm when things get tough. Why is that, Naruto-kun?" Naruto responded to Lee. "Because no matter what of the odd, there nobody that can put down Naruto Uzumaki." Naruto laughed again, and Lee had to join in. Naruto gazed up at the sky, taking in the clouds, but then he noticed something. As soon as possible, Naruto snatches up a bottle of soup and points it at an elderly man who was surreptitiously looking at the female side of the hot springs. In the boys' hot springs, the elderly man fell. As the boys started to perspire, the elderly man yelled at them, "Ah, hot hot hot. What the hell your problem, kid? Can you see I'm doing my research?" Naruto shouted at the elderly man, "What kind of person does for a living spy on girls?" As Lee watched the two altercations and Kiba cautiously slipped away before things became ugly. Jiraiya proudly declared, "Ha! Fools, you do not know of me, I the great and almighty powerful Toad Sage Jiraiya." He was also the greatest ninja in the world. As he started to perspire, Naruto thought, "Something tells me that I am doomed to be fated with this old perv." In other places, the Sound 4 nod their heads as they set out to find Kin and ensure that whoever has her will be compensated. Orochimaru said, "Kin is missing from the hospital. Dosu and Zaku hadn't seen her in 6 days. Find her if Konoha found her and question her, then our plans are ruined." In the Umbrella secret base the following day, only the creator of Umbrella called the chilly, dark, deserted hallway of Umbrella base home. No one else was present at this secret base. This was Kin's new home, where she slept soundly and dreamed away as her body gradually developed and matured. However, abruptly, something went wrong when water began to trickle from the ceiling in the main room where the master computer is located. Water entered the system and caused a serious issue, which caused a unique BOW to awaken from its sleep. The number T.0109 feet appeared on a capsule that emerged from the freezer room, indicating that the unknown entity had opened the capsule and left the freezer room to go wherever it wanted to go. In this instance, Kin closed her eyes and woke up gradually as she saw this. Kin used a new power she had acquired while she was asleep because she had taken control of the system in the main computer room. The computer responds to Kin's commands by saying, "Now releasing T.35. T.35 was once again awake in the freezer room, wondering why he had woken up this time. T.35, also known as the Thanatos Tyrant, heard Kin's voice suddenly reach out to him. He felt her strong force overcome the tyrant. Kin gave the tyrant very simple instructions to locate and destroy the escaped BOW. Kin recalls that it was her responsibility to ensure that none of the BOW escaped or that anything unpleasant happened. Thanatos exited the room and went through the stairway to the surface, where he passed the waterfalls and entered the hidden forest of Konoha. This Thanatos was a complete replica of the Thanatos from Outbreak File 1, unlike any other BOW or tyrant. Following his master's wishes, a very lordly Thanatos made Kin his top importation mission at the moment. Kin was his master at the time, and he was given orders to get rid of that escaped BOW. The Sound 4's hidden forest in Konoha. As Kidomaru sat on the tall tree's bark, he sighed and said, "I don't want so importation about a low-level genin like Kin." Tayuya frowned and crossed her arms over her chest as she said, "Quit your bitching at Lord Orochimaru's orders." Jirobo said, "A lady shouldn't be talking that way." Tayuya growled at Jirobo, saying, "Shove it, fatty. Wasn't Kin your girlfriend, Tayuya?" Sakan smirked. Kidomaru laughs and says, "Oh yeah, that right, more like lover." Tayuya laughed, mocking Kidomaru, and said, "Kiss my ass." With venom, he added, "At least I don't have 4 arms to jack 4 guys off." Tayuya smiles at Kidomaru, who growls at her. Jirobo then urged the other person to pay attention when he heard a footstep. Sakan said, "What was that?" According to Kidomaru, whoever it was, they gone. Bam! When something abruptly toppled the tree Kidomaru was perched on, he climbed down to join the others on the ground floor and their unidentified friend. The man was tall, bald, and had white eyes. He was dressed in a dark green coat, heavy boots, and brown gloves. Based on the appearance of his face, he wasn't amiable or the kind to broach the subject. "What the fuck is that?" exclaimed Chiyuya as she pulled out her flute. Mr. X was the name of this unidentified tyrant. Upon witnessing Chiyuya pull out her flute, Mr. X rushed towards her, slammed her with his shoulder thrust, and smashed her against a tree, causing her to cough up blood. Jirobo hurried over to join Chiyuya. He said, "You okay, Chiyuya?" Before responding to him, Chiyuya coughed up blood twice. "What the fuck do you think I just got my ass kicked? Do something, fatty," she said. After Chiyuya's shoulder thrust attack, Mr. X noticed that he was still alive. He then turned to see Sakin and Kitamaru behind him. In an attempt to trap the BOW, Kitamaru spat out a web at Mr. X, but Mr. X easily tore the web off of him as he power walked over to Kitamaru and swung his right arm at him. Kitamaru drop-kicked Mr. X in the face after ducking and walking on his chest. As the tyrant collapsed, Sakin tripped over Mr. X. Jirobo went over, picked Mr. X up off the ground, swung him around, and threw him into a tree. Mr. X then exploded through numerous trees, crashing down on him. Jirobo grinned and said, "No one has strength like me." However, as Mr. X emerged from the tree crash site, a loud crash noise was heard. Approaching the sound ninja group. As Sakin separated from his twin brother Yukon, Kitamaru spat another web net on Mr. X to slow him down. Mr. X just looks at the twins as Sakin and Yukon use their curse seal to level 1, realizing that his prey will be more difficult to eliminate. Mr. X didn't have to worry because his body was capable of handling harm. Mr. X was taken aback when Jirobo appeared out of nowhere and punched him hard, tying his block off and knocking the tyrant down just 5 inches. Mr. X yells at Jirobo, saying he must first eliminate the team's strength. Mr. X's face displayed a hint of rage toward the Sound 4, and he scowled even more. Mr. X abruptly grabbed Hirobo's hands, and Jirobo followed suit as the two engaged in a forceful battle. Jirobo went to Curse Seal level 1 to match Mr. X's strength. When he wasn't looking, Sakin attacked Mr. X with multiple connecting punches. Mr. X took a beating from the brothers' punches before Kitamaru webbed his legs and used his level 1 Curse Seal to toss him up in the air. Chiyuya leapt high into the air, balling up her right fist and striking X in the face with her strong right hook. They believed that the Sound 4 had won the battle between Mr. X and the ground when X crashed into it, causing the ground to tremble and only X's legs to remain in the air. Chiyuya recovered from X's attack, but he still felt weak. The other members of the Sound team had to use level 1 Curse Seal to defeat Mr. X, whoever he was. Chiyuya questioned, "What the fuck was that thing?" Sakin and his brother smirk and say, "Don't know whoever that guy was, he's no longer our problem." His coat was half torn and ripped, and Mr. X snapped his jaw in place as his eyes popped open and he exploded from the ground, more enraged than ever. He looked at them. They were strong individuals who, working together, defeated him and temporarily incapacitated him, but not sufficiently to kill him. Chiyuya's jaw drops when she says, "You gotta be fucking kidding." Jirobo, Kitamaru, Sakin, and Yukon all scowl because Mr. X was definitely not dead. The Sound 4 were forced to go to level 2 of the Curse Seal, and if Mr. X had been handling them at the time, that is why he roared aloud. He witnessed his prey undergo a sudden change in appearance, but they were all still the same individuals he had fought. Since the Sound 4 will be aware of and terrified of a tyrant's strength, Mr. X was going to love this. In other places with Naruto following their encounter, the two went to the waterfall, where Jiraiya promised to teach Naruto some jutsu so he could defeat Neji Hyuga without Wesker's strength. Jiraiya was aware of the presence of the nine-tailed fox even though he was unaware that Wesker was imprisoned inside Naruto. Jiraiya discovered the issue when Naruto attempted to walk on water because Orochimaru had sealed his chakra, but there was a strong flow of chakra surrounding him like a shield. With a fist to the stomach, Jiraiya unsealed Naruto's chakra, which he didn't like at all because it didn't hurt as much as when Wesker punched him. A gut shot still hurt like hell, though. "Okay, now that you learn how to walk on water, time for the fun part to begin, Naruto." Jiraiya laughs. While the Toad Sage smiled at the boy, Naruto smirked at Jiraiya, saying, "Oh great, I can hardly wait. So what the next part of my training then is learning to double my strength or walk on lava." Crossing his arms across his chest, Jiraiya says, "Learning to summon." Sound 4 is back. Chiyuya screams, "Ah!" Hirobo's, "Ka!" scream. Childamaru screams, "You!" Sakin yelled, "Rog!" louder than the other four. It's unbelievable how Mr. X defeated the Sound 4 and had them all revert to their original forms in 10 minutes. Mr. X was somewhat affected by Chiyuya Genjutsu, but he managed to escape. By merging with Mr. X's body, Sakin and Yukon's bloodline nearly succeeded in attacking him from within and causing him to attack himself. Even they were unable to remove Mr. X because he was simply too strong, being a BOW and all, but he almost tore Yukon's head off Mr. X's neck. Before he could finally finish them off, Mr. X assembled the Sound 4 in one location and raised his arms in the air to do so. Suddenly emerging from the brushes, Thanatos tackled Mr. X into the forest without warning. The Sound 4 take advantage of this opportunity to flee and return to Orochimaru's lair, where they are humiliated and beaten by their defeat at the hands of someone even more powerful than Orochimaru. After the Thanatos tyrant released Mr. X from Thanatos's grasp, he fell from a massive waterfall near the base. Naruto and Jiraiya were at the same fall. The Konoha Falls splash. As Mr. X emerges from the water, Jiraiya and Naruto swiftly turn to face the falls. Thanatos grabs Mr. X by the neck and punches the tyrant in the face after dropping his knee on him and colliding with him. After Mr. X smashed Thanatos off him, he underwent an odd metamorphosis, turning his hands into claws and his body into a powerful, muscular one. Knowing that only a fool would intervene in this battle between two superhuman beings, Jiraiya grabbed Naruto and fled. Why are the tyrants out, and what the devil is going on? Thought to himself, Naruto. As Jiraiya watched the tyrants battle, she said, Naruto, let go. I don't think these guys are here for training. Mr. X slapped Thanatos, sending him flying in the direction of Naruto and Jiraiya. Naruto used his Wesker's powers to swiftly grab Jiraiya and flee to another location. Unfortunately, Mr. X saw them and assumed it was a trap set by the enemy to divert his attention from the Sound Ninjas and Thanatos. It wasn't a good day for training, but perhaps this was what Naruto needed after all, so Mr. X focused on him and Jiraiya. Will Naruto's human strength and jutsu be sufficient to defeat Mr. X if he lacks superhuman abilities? Perhaps Naruto wasn't fighting alone, but Jiraiya stood next to him, knowing that Mr. X wouldn't let them leave, so they might as well give it their all. Mr. X sprinted in their direction and slashed upward with his right claw, but he missed them. While the real Naruto jumped high in the air and performed the Uzumaki combo on Mr. X, Naruto counterattacked with 6 shadow clones, keeping X occupied. When Naruto lands a down kick on Mr. X's face, the BOW collides with his face. Okay, good job, kid. But don't let your guard down just yet, kid, Jiraiya encourages Naruto. Naruto was caught off guard when Mr. X got up and coughed up blood, and the tyrant snarled at the Uzumaki before sprinting in their direction. X slashes at Naruto, who prepares to block his attack. Naruto yells, "Ah!" Jiraiya screamed, "Rasengan!" and smashed the BOW into a big rock while smashing Rasengan into Mr. X's chest. Mr. X had a big hole in his chest and appeared to have been beaten. Suddenly, he roared in agony as his body underwent yet another metamorphosis. The tyrant was nearly finished with his metamorphosis, and as his claws grew longer, his face became more beastly before human blood erupted from his mouth. Suddenly, Thanatos charged at Mr. X and stabbed the tyrant in the forehead, but Mr. X pushed Thanatos away with a super punch. There were only 2 hours left before Mr. X arrived to swiftly conclude their lesson, so Naruto had to act quickly when his transformation was nearly complete. Naruto, however, was more than prepared to do it. Summoning Jutsu, Naruto slammed his left hand against the floor. Mr. X yelled, "Rog but the enormous foot of a massive red toad silenced him. Jiraiya and Naruto both perspired when a powerful BOW was stopped by stepping on a bug. Sweating, Naruto said, "Well, at least that's stop him." Jiraiya concurred with his godson. After completing his task, Mr. X stopped Thanatos and left the area as if he had never been there in the first place. What was that thing and what were they fighting about? Jiraiya asked, searching the area for Thanatos, the tyrant, who had vanished. Was Orochimaru responsible for this? This kind of power would never be created by any Orochimaru. After defeating the enormous red toad, Jiraiya turned to face Naruto and thought, I have to investigate this later after training Naruto. Hey Naruto, that was some battle, you did a good job, say let's end today's lesson, tomorrow at this spot. Naruto grinned and said, yeah sure thing Previ Sage. Would you stop calling me, call me Master Jiraiya, okay? Jiraiya grinned and sighed. Naruto chuckled and said, yeah sure whatever Previ Sage. It was an odd day, and tomorrow Naruto would have to check on the base before rejoining Jiraiya for training. He hoped Kin was okay and that nothing negative happened while he was away at the base. At the base of the umbrella with minor cuts and wounds from Mr. X, Thanatos went back to sleep. He assured Kin that Mr. X was dead and that she wouldn't need to worry about him. As Kin's powers continued to grow while she slept, she was grateful that Thanatos was her lordly servant. In addition, Kin was grateful to Thanatos for preventing the death of the Sound 4 because Tayuya was not only his best friend but also his best friend. In a short while, Kin would awaken and transform into a goddess for her god, Naruto. As Wesker emerged from the gates grinning, Naruto materialized in front of Kyuubi's gates. Wesker said in a very joyful tone, "Oh, I felt you were here somewhere, Naruto." Naruto questioned the superhuman, "Why are you so happy about? Your power is no longer sealed." Wesker laughed. "Yeah, an old sage named Jiraiya helps me out. He unsealed my powers, so I can use my Charka again and not your abilities," Naruto stated to Wesker. Wesker laughed, anticipating a good match after a long absence. "Very good, now you are at your true strength. Care to challenge me again, dear Naruto?" Uzumaki said to Wesker. "Maybe another time, Wesker. Tomorrow is the day of the finals. I want to save all my strength up for the match tomorrow." "Very well then, next time then, Naruto, I look forward to it." Wesker laughs. "How is Kin? Surely she is doing well?" "Yes. Kin is fine so far. She was able to control the computer with her mind and set free T.35 when one of the BOW escaped. It was no problem and everything ended well," Naruto replied with a grin. "I see, so she wasn't a failure after all. This is very good. So when will she be unleashes?" Wesker responded. "Very soon. I believe she grows tired of sleeping. She is my first prototype using my blood, so she would be a very powerful human when she awakens." Naruto laughed. Wesker smiled and glared at him. "Remember what I said about kin blood is special?" Naruto nodded. "I must warn you, if anyone without a special bloodline like an O or a type blood bewares, only those chosen by Ouroboros will be given its wonderful gift. But those who are unfitted to Ouroboros will become a monster." Naruto disappears from view, leaving Wesker alone. "I see, very well, I'll keep that in check." Wesker exhaled. "Seem everything is going so very well. Being trapped inside this boy's soul has it up and down. But I'll find a way to return to the world without the need of Naruto. But I still need him, he's a powerful weapon, even more so." Wesker laughed. At the covert umbrella base that day, Naruto and Shino returned to the base. It was time for Kin to wake up. Shino instructed the computer to awaken Kin from her sleep. When the doors open and the capsule rises, Kin emerges from it nude, her body new but mature. Kin's body appeared 2 years older, but her height was still normal, and her hair was still long and jet black. As she leaves the freezer room, Shino gives her a warm cloth to cover herself with, causing her muscles to twitch. Naruto left Kin some fresh clothes to wear in the sick room. As Kin was getting dressed in the sick room's bathroom, Naruto asked, "So how do you feel, Kin? Chan feel better, no problem of any kind?" "I'm fine, Naruto, and what all this question?" she responded. "I'm worried about you, Kin. You were asleep in the freezing room for a whole month. Plus you did show signs of advances mutations, so I was worried about you." Naruto laughs and rolls her eyes as she opens the bathroom door while donning the new clothes he gave her. Kin was wearing dark blue shorts and a black t-shirt with a red vest over it. Naruto gave her the sound headband that had fallen off during her transformation that day. Kin shook her head and remained silent for a short while. Naruto smiled smugly at Kin and said, "Finally decide who's the real good guy are." "Ouch, that hurt," Kin said, flicking one finger at Naruto's forehead. Kin grinned at her master and said, "Naruto, don't get arrogant." "Whatever you say, Kin. Chan." After Naruto kissed her on the lips and walked out of the room, Kin's face turned crimson. As the three ninjas departed the underground base, Shino called her name to startle her out of the moment. Naruto put his right arm around Kin and said, "Alright guys, what shall we do on this day before the finals come?" Kin briefly grinned at Naruto as Shino said, "Finish our training, of course, there will be many battles for tomorrow event." Then Naruto felt his right foot being stomped on Kin. "Yeah, I know, so far pervy. Sage is the only one training me. Kakashi Sensei too busy training Sasuke, and I haven't seen them in a while. Well, from what I heard from Sakura Chan." Kin said, "Sakura Chan?" As Kin turned away from Naruto, he grinned at his goddess and asked, "What, she just one of my teammates? Nothing to get jealous over, Kin Chan." Shino remarked, "I see, very well. Well, I really own you one, Kin, really." Naruto kissed Kin's right cheek, causing her to blush once more. What for?" she questioned. Laughs. "Did you forget you dispose of that tyrant using another tyrant? T.35 kept that tyrant busy long enough for me to use a summon jutsu to crush it." "Oh yeah, well, I was only following orders and keep the base a secret. It was our job from your Hokage to keep the base a secret," Kin said as Naruto and Shino nodded. "Yeah, you're right, Kin Chan." Kin blushes from the shame of being hungry as her stomach suddenly roars like a beast. When Naruto looks at the cherry-faced Kin, he smiles broadly with delight and says, "Look like something hungry." Kin said, "S. Shut you up," to him. The words, "I too am hungry," came from Shino. Naruto grabs the two by the hands and runs to his favorite spot to eat his ramen. "All right, everyone let go to get some ramen," he exclaims. After waiting for their meal for a short while as Shino received his meal first, Naruto asked, "So Kin, are you gonna watch me kick Neji Hyuga ass tomorrow?" "I got nothing else to do, Baka. I quit being a sound ninja," Kin replied. "Great, you can enjoy the show with Sakura and the others then." "I guess?" She was now enjoying her meal and was the second person to receive it. Kin said, "This is really good." Naruto glances over to see Shino savoring his meal and asks, "Of course ramen is the best food ever, right Shino?" Shino remarked, "This good." "Damn right," exclaimed Naruto. Everyone finished their lunch today. Shortly after that, Shino informed the group that he was leaving to complete his training. As the day swiftly turned into night, Kin made the decision to stay with Naruto and spend the night at his place, leaving the BOW couple alone. The apartment of Naruto told her while getting dressed in the restroom, "You know you didn't have to stay if you wanted to, Kin." "Why? I've been asleep inside cold for a month. I think sleeping like a normal would do the justice," she replied. Naruto laughed and said, "Whatever you say, Kin-chan. Stop calling me that, just Kin, okay? No Chan, got it?" Kin shouted. Naruto, dressed in a dark blue shirt and long orange pajama pants for sleeping, said, "Why, I think Kin-chan suit you and your beauty." Kin looks at him and asks, "How can you sleep, let alone wear that color?" As Kin turned away, Naruto glared at her, asking, "What, got a problem with orange?" "No, I just don't see it fit you." Naruto questioned her, "What my color then? I don't know, try wearing more blue or black." Naruto pointed to her green pajamas and asked, "And what about you?" "I like green, thank you very much," Kin replied. Crawling under his bed's covers, Naruto pats the bed and invites Kin to join him. "You better not do anything funny or else," Kin replied. After Kin said, "Night," he was struck on the head and remarked, "Like what? I'm 12, Kin, and you're 14. Well, although you look older a little." Naruto quickly fell asleep after saying, "Yeah, good night, Kin." Naruto grinned as he felt Kin cuddle up behind him, feeling her near him. He knew that she was now his, that she was his goddess, that she was his best creation to date, and that he was her god. On the night that the two BOWs spent their first night together, Kin fell asleep after listening to Naruto's heartbeat, which made her feel very content and at ease. The following morning, in order to avoid being late for the finals, Kin got up earlier than Naruto, prepared breakfast for him, and wrote a letter. Before the finals, Kin spends some time that morning traveling around Konoha. After receiving a new life from her god, Kin discovered something she didn't want to see or confront. The sound ninjas Dosu and an armless Zack, who were once her friends. Zack questioned, "Kin, where the hell have you been?" Kin remained silent, and her only response to them was, "I was asleep for a very long time." Dosu glared at Kin, who gave him a meaner look in return. "But Lord Orochimaru wants you and Zack to meet him before the finals come. He said it's very important, so you better do as he ordered." She replied, "Fine." Kin feels different in some way, and it's not just her behavior, either. Dosu pondered to himself. Unknown subterranean space. Kin. Kabuto said, taken aback by her attractive appearance. "Did you expect to see me?" Kin grinned. "Yes, you do arrive on time. You and Zaku are under special orders from Lord Orochimaru," Kabuto stated. "What is it?" Kin inquired. Kabuto called forth two enormous coffins for the two of them to enter, telling them to get inside. As the coffin closed, Kabuto said to Kin and Zack, "This won't hurt a bit." He laughed. Kin felt a sudden surge of energy from hearing that, and she fell asleep. Two sound ninjas were instructed by Kabuto to protect the coffins until Orochimaru called them in for the assault. Then all of a sudden, Kin's heart began to slowly fade away, one beat at a time, getting progressively slower until it stopped, but then something happened that woke her up from her never-ending sleep. As a third appeared on her forehead, Kin's eyes snapped open, turning from black to bright red. Kin's right hand exploded from the coffin, turning into a black claw as she let out a tyrannical roar. "Ah!" Kin let out a cry. In other places, Neji Hyuga was being called, and Naruto heard Kin's scream in his head. As he addressed Neji, Naruto thought, "Kin, be safe, my angel of death. I'm ready to kick your ass." "It will be fate for you to lose, dropout," Neji replied. "Hey, let's check on that, Hyuga," Naruto grinned. Neji said, "Let's go. I will win Hyuga, and winning will demonstrate who really lost the Chunin exams." Naruto swears he will defeat Neji and open this Hyuga's eyes using Hinata's blood. Alongside the others on the balcony, Shikamaru remarked, "Dude, this fight is going to be ugly." Kankuro remarked, "That kid is so dead meat he's facing a Hyuga." Gaara stays silent as she observes the conflict. Tamari grinned as she looked down at Naruto and said, "Who knows, he might actually beat the Hyuga." The crowd was down below. Many of Naruto's friends and acquaintances, including Rock Lee, Guy, Kiba, Hinata, and others, watched the conflict between the Hyuga and the Uzumaki. Naruto-kun is displaying amazing young artistry, Lee uttered. "Yes. It appears that Lee might be able to defeat Neji," Guy laughs. Tenten said, "Maybe Neji is pretty strong too, guys," to her teammate and sensei. "Naruto can do it," Sakura said, "he has been training a lot, he wants to be strong." "Yes, that is correct, Sakura. Chan Naruto want to strong, I believe stronger than Sasuke Uchiha, this should be fun indeed," Guy laughs. So far, Naruto has been able to keep Neji off guard with surprise air kicks and roundhouse kicks with a combo, but Neji returned with his gentle fist, cutting off Naruto's Charka points. Naruto wasn't using Wesker's strength in this battle. All of Naruto's strength was useless. Neji explained to Naruto why he hated the main branch of the Hyuga clan for everything they did to him and his friends. Although he felt alone in the village, there were many others who had gone through similar things as Lee and now Neji. At first, it was a losing battle, but Naruto managed to defeat and subdue Neji. Invoking all of his strength in his right hand, Naruto slammed his fist into the ground, causing the ground to crack. Naruto then dug into the ground and surprised Neji with a strong right hook, which won the fight. As the Uzumaki extend a hand to the Hyuga, Naruto approaches Neji and smiles at him. "Are you that cage bird, Neji?" A bird escapes the cage of fate and flies toward his destiny, Naruto inquired. Neji replied, smiling amiably, "You won." Neji added, "Naruto." Naruto thought to himself, "I wonder what's going on with Kin. She's not here, she misses my first fight." However, he noticed Kin where Guy and Lee were. Did she arrive late? It didn't matter. She was there, and thus far, Lee and Guy had given her a warm embrace of friendship. As Naruto and Neji left the area, Naruto laughed to himself, "I guess that since Lee and I are brothers in battle, that makes Kin a sister to Lee then." Although injured, the battle was over, and Naruto was happy to have made a new friend rather than an enemy. However, one person was still standing in his way of becoming Chunin, and that would be Gaara and Sasuke Uchiha. No one knows where he might be. "I apologize for not arriving on time, Naruto." Kin's mind reaches out to him. "It's all right, Kin. What happened?" "I got into some trouble, but it's all resolved." "Really?" "Yes, I just ran into my old friends. Didn't I leave them because I disappeared?" "Well, I'm happy you're safe, Kin. Chan, you're very important to me." It was Naruto who was very important to Kin. Without him, she would have died like Zaku is now due to the T-Uroboros virus. But Kin's new powers save her from the likes of death by Orochimaru's hands. Kin grinned, feeling special that Naruto said that about her. Her heart was suddenly filled with a warm feeling for Naruto. "Thank you, Naruto-san." She will use this power to pay Naruto back, even if it means losing her life. In other places, "I got fucked by that sultry genin whore bitch." While the second ninja was bleeding from the neck, one of the sound ninjas spoke while his right hand was bitten off. Lord Orochimaru must be informed that Kin escaped and, "Oh my body." The first sound ninja tries to flee, but he too meets the same end as the other sound ninjas. The second spoke as his body suddenly erupted in pain, his chest bursting open like a black leech. Like skin. Who knows that Uroboros has returned more than ever.
So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more awesome stories like this. Thank you. See you all in my next video.